Okay, the Shiksa has spoken. Okay, we're up to the Nun Dalet Amid Aleph. We're beginning the daf on Nun Gimel Amid Beis, about 4 lines from the bottom. So the Mishnah said that if a shor falls in a bar and the kalim on it break, but chamar falls in a bar and the kalim on it rip, so you be chayiv on the shor and the chamar, and you be patur on the kalim. It says the Gemara Masnis on our Mishnah that says that you patur on kalim is the like Rabbi Yehuda. It's not like the Tanya Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya Rabbi Yehuda mechayiv on this kalim bebar. We had this very a long time ago. Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion that you are chayiv in this kalim bebar. In other words, if he doesn't do the limit shar v'layad mechamar v'laykalim, he does not buy into that, as we're going to see. My time in the Rabbanon that says you're patur on kalim. It's very interesting. By this time, Masech, if you don't know this, you haven't been in Baba Kama, right? You finally, 50 blood in, you're figuring it out. So what? Says the Gemara. My time in the Rabbanon Damakra, the Nafal Shama Shar Sandberg, get out. The Nafal Shama Shar, right? If it falls there, Shar Vichamar, right? And what do we darshin? Shar V'Lay Adam. You pater on the Misa of Adam in the bar, Hamar V'Lay Kalim. Rabbi Yehuda. Shar v'loyad nafal shama shar oy chamar. Rabbi Yehuda oy l'rabbis es hakelim. The oy comes to go ahead man and include kalim. Let's do Rashi, guys. The last one. Shar v'loyadam midloy kasiv nafal shama hanoifel. In other words, what Rashi's bothered by, what's the drasha of? Where do you know how to make this drasha? So it does say v'nafal shama hanoifel. Alma l'meuteyasa. It comes to memayit. It comes to memayit adam. Well, kamei parach. In other words, once you tell me there's a meat over here, why by animals also is not a meat? You're going to be more expansive if you're limiting and saying Adam not. So let's say Shor v'chamar yes, but any other animal not. So in other words, once the pasuk is coming to exclude, let's be more exclusionary and go ahead and exclude what other animals besides Shor v'chamar. Again, this is very text driven daf tonight. So Rabbi Yehuda has a limit from Oy, and Oy is going to go ahead and tell me Kalim, yes, to include Kalim. Question, what does the Chachamim do with that Oy? The Rabbanon Amid Aleph, Oy mi boy leilachalik. Oy, we need the Oy to go ahead and divvy it up. In other words, I'd say Nafal Shav Shar Oy Chamar. Without the Oy, you'd say in order to be chayiv, you need a Shar and the Chamar. You need both. You need a Shar and a Chamar. Comes along the oy to mechalik, you don't need either or, would be chayiv. Rabbi Yehuda, where does he know mechalik from? After all, he's using it oy to be marbe kalim. Nafal nafka. The fact that nafal is said the lashon yachid, so obviously you don't need two things falling in the bar. You don't need a shar and a chamar. It's enough to be v'nafal is a lashon yachid. Rabbanon v'nafal two v'nafal can be more than what? One, right? So therefore. So nafal can be more than what? One. Since it can be more than one, I would think you need two. If not that, the oy comes to machalik. So again, just to reiterate, you have machloikis between the Chachamim and Rabbi Yehuda. Is there psur of Kalim Bar? Says the Chachamim nafal shama shar v'chamar shar v'layam chamar v'laykalim. Rabbi Yehuda says oy comes to include Kalim, and oy according to the Chachamim comes to machalik. That you don't need shar and chamar, just what either or. And the Rabbi Yehuda learns that from v'nafal, the singular lashon. And the Chachamim, the singular lashon is not singular at all. It can be mashma more than one, and therefore I needed the oy to be mechalik. Now, Fredig Markasha. The Eiman, the Nafal Klal, Shor v'chamar Prat, right? By this time in Shas, we know the concept of a rule, and then a specific, and then we'll say Klalu Prat. You have the rule and the specific. Ein bechlal elamashe beprat. The only thing that's going to be in the klal is the prat. Shor v'chamar in, midi achrina loy. The only things that you be chayiv is the prat. The prat over here, what is shor and chamar? And I'd say nothing else. So Ami says, Ami balabar yishalem, then chazu klal. Okay, so now when it says barabal yishalem, that's a klal. So now, guys, just if you remember our rule of thumb, when you learn klalu pratu klal, so a klal means that I have a cup, and I have to decide what goes in that cup. Right, the cup, it's an empty cup. I'm going to decide what goes in the cup. What goes in the cup? Shar v'chamar. In this case, the only thing in that in the cup is shar v'chamar. If you wouldn't say anything else, all you'd have in the cup is Shav Chamar. Comes along a klal afterwards, it must be to include more than the Shav Chamar, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't say anything. It would simply say what? The klal and the prat. So what does the second klal do? It takes Shav Chamar and says anything that's similar, that has similar characteristics of the Shav Chamar would be included in this rule. In other words, the prat would limit it to a shor and a chamar. What the klal does after the prat, klal, that second klal now makes the cup not limited to shor v'chamar, but anything that is similar to shor v'chamar. Good. So the Gemara's kasha was, let's be limited to shor v'chamar. After all, it's a klalu prat. Let's be limited to that. On that, the Gemara says, what it really is a klalu prat to klal. Nun dal v'namid aleph, may about 6 lines down. So Balabay Shalom Chosav Klal. Klalu Pratu Klal, Iatadon Elkein Ha Prat. You're going to judge now similar to what the prat of Shor v'Chamar. Maha Prat, Shor and Chamar Mefurish Bali Chayim. These things are alive. Afkol Bali Chayim. You could see how the Klal fellas goes ahead and incorporates much more in the cup. You were limited to what? A Shor v'Chamar. Now coming along and saying another Klal. Now, anything that's alive that falls in the pit, you're going to be tired, right? Anything. You'll ask, Ima prat mefurish dava shenevelosa mitamo b'maga u'b'masa, af kol dava shenevelosa mitamo b'maga u'b'masa. Okay, a little Yedias time, fellas. We know that something that doesn't have a shchita, a kosher animal or a non-kosher animal that shchita doesn't help. If it doesn't have a shchita and it dies, it's nevela. Nevela is more chama than a sheretz. A sheretz is mitama tumis maga, tumis a touching. Nevela we mitama tumis maga and masa. Even if you don't touch it, you carry it. You would be mitama. Now, so both the shor v'chamar have that capacity. What would not be mitama tumis nevela would be an oif. An oif. A oif that's tamei. A non-kosher bird does not transmit tuma. An eagle, a hawk. If you ever come along an eagle hawk and you touch it, it's not tumas nevela. Kosher birds, on the other hand, are mitama. When? At the time in the base habliya, when they're in your throat. So memela, you want to say any baal chai is included in this pit, once in the chiyuv, if you fall in a bar, based upon your rule of klalu pratu klal. I can go ahead, look at your klalu pratu klal, and say I have something that is not similar to shor v'chamar. It's alive, but it's not similar. Because both shor v'chamar has tumas nevela, magu masa, whereas a bird does not. A kosher bird does not. So how do you know if a bird goes in a bar that you be chayiv? That's the Gemara's kasha. How would you know? Aval oifus loy, says the Gemara. No. Im kain, if that's the case, nichta rachmana chad prata. If it only wanted to limit guys nevela, then it only said one thing. Good. So in other words, the nafel shama shar. That's it. So now, then you'd say what? So guys, here you have your cup. You have a cup, right? Something falls in a bar. What falls in a bar? A shar. There's a shar tumas nevela. Yeah. And then you have so you would know anything at tumas nevela, excluding a bird that doesn't have tumas nevela of magamasa. Why do you say chamar? A second prat, it must be more inclusionary to include kol bali chayim. It must be afilu birds, because again, if you just want to limit it to something that what is mitama tumas maga, just say one thing. Just go ahead and say sure. You wouldn't have to say chamar. By saying chamar, obviously you're making your klal much more inclusive. You're making it much more inclusive. So. In Cain, if it only wanted to say something that's mitama tumas nevela, but birds not, nichtay rachmana, the Torah should have written chad prata, just one. Hi nichtay. Now, for the Gemara, not a kasha. Hi nichtay. Which one would you write? Ikas of shar havamina karv legamis mizbeach in sheinu karv mizbeach loy. So in other words, let's go. We just rewriting the Torah. Kiyef tachishba, kiyef rishba, v'nafel shama shar. Okay, so what would you say? Is it Shama Thomas Nevela? Yeah, okay. Is it Shar brought on the Mizbeach? Is it Chamar brought on the Mizbeach? So in other words, if you would only say Shar, you'd be creating a much more exclusive klal, right? You'd be limiting it to something similar to a shar. Just like a shar is something that is shayach takrava, so to anything that's shayach takrava, there'll be a parsha. Masha'en kain. So therefore, I needed chamor to tell me what. No, you're not limited to mizbeach. Even a chamor would also be chaya. Good. Now, what about, so you're going to say, right, a chamor? So the Gemara says, v'ikas rachman a chamor, have amina, kodesh b'bechayra in, shein kodesh b'bechayra loy. Good. So now, so what do you have? You have, I would say, 1 second. What do you know about a chamor? Right? That, right? Either tifte b'seh, either poide b'seh, or baraftoi, or decapitated, correct? So in other words, what have I proven to you? You have to write both shor and chamor for my rule. Yes? What was the kasha? Guys, outside. Eye contact. Guys, what was the kasha? The kasha was the following. How do you know that? What is exactly you chayiv for what in a bar? Maybe I'm chayiv for shor and chamor. No, it's a klalu pratu klal, and therefore you're not limited to shor v'chamar. It's more inclusive. What's inclusive? All bali chayim. Now, anytime you learn a klalu pratu klal, it's got to be similar to that prat. It's got to be similar to that prat. What does shor and chamar have in common? Tumis nevela. Shor and chamar have in common tumis nevela. What don't they have? An oif doesn't have tumis nevela, so I wouldn't know oif. Says the Gemara, no, that's not a kasha. I know oif. You know why? Because I would, if I just wanted to limit it to nevela, I would have listened to one or the other, either shor or chamar. 1 second, I couldn't do that. Why? If you don't have the shor, you'd say the only thing that you chayiv for is similar to a shor, something can be on his mizbeach. If you would have written chamar, all you would know that what something that is shayach what b'char, kedushas b'chara. So therefore, I had to write shor v'chamar. So now I'm back to the original question. Since you had to write shor and chamar, both of them, maybe the only thing that you chayiv that falls in a bar is what? One that is shayach to nevela. So back to the original question. I'm back to the original question.
You couldn't just write one, then you wouldn't know about the feeling.
Huh?
You know, we say shor, right? If we had the fear was shor v'lo adam and chamor like feeling. So we just want shor, you wouldn't know feeling.
Let's see how the Gemara fair size. I don't think I'm just saying if you just write one. Let's see how the Gemara fair size. Says the Gemara. Now, so right now, we're going to drop the klalu protocol, guys. We're dropping that totally. Good? It's out. We're going to have a new limud. Ella means dead end. We're restarting. Ella amakra. How do we know bali chayim? It says v'amesi elo kol davar misa. Right? Anything that what is anything that's kol davar misa. Anything that what is a bar misa. Anything that what is a bar misa. Anything that's a bar misa would be in the ballpark. In other words, it's not a limud of klal upratu klal. It's anything that's alive. It's dead. Once upon a time, it must be shaykh life, and therefore I know everything. Now bein l'Rabbanan the kamay l'kelim, okay, and bein l'Rabbi Yehuda the kamay l'kelim, right? Kelim b'nei misin. So now we have a kasha. Let's firize. Loit the chachamim that you're going to go ahead and say your Kalim's out of the ballpark. Loit Rabbi Yehuda that says Kalim's in the ballpark. How now at this point in time could you say Yechayiv and Kalim in bar? After all, if your whole limud is Vamesi Elo, then it's not alive. It's not alive. So how could it be included in the bar or excluded in the bar? How could that be? Amri, and for the Gemara Shvi'u Misasan. The act of what of it breaking, that's its misa. The act of its breaking is its misa. So therefore, very good. So now this limit stands, guys. Any bal chayim, and even thing that's not a bal chayim, anything that's shaykh a death. What is death? It's no usage anymore. Not shayk usage. Ularav the Amar bar shechay v'lo Torah lehev v'lo l'chvatoi. Now, according to Rav, that the toy, what's the bar? We had a machlokes guys outside. Rav and Shmuel says Rav the chiyuv of bar is what for the beard ear. The chiyuv of Shmuel is a filu chavata. Rav said, remember it's karka oilam. That's gonna. So Shmuel says afilu chavata. So now, bishleimer, an animal, it could die. But how does a keli, according to, why would you need a miyat on kalim? This is going to feel right. Why would you need a miyat on kalim after all if it's not shaykh death? So of course kalim out of the ballpark automatically. You wouldn't need a limit for it. The fact that it's not a balchai, the fact that it's not a balchai, you wouldn't need a limit for it, right? It's not a balchai. It's not a balchai. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that it is a balchai, that it's included. Why is it included, right? Oh, so now, according to Shmuel, so we said Shri Asan Zumisasa. According to Rav, how does it affect it? Says the Gemara. Ularat. The Amar Bar Shechayv Lav Torah Lehev Lav Chvatoi Beilin Rabban and Beilin Rabbi Yehuda Kalim Bnei Havolininu. They don't breathe. Amri Bechadati. We're speaking about new Kalim. The Mifkoi Mehevla. They're going to get impeded. They're going to get impacted by the odor, the gas. It'll make it rusty. It'll mildew it. Whatever it is, that's the act of killing it. It could be, that's what according to Rav. Now, further Gemara Kasha. Let's do the Rashi guys. Shrivasan Zui Misasan, okay? Shrivasan Zui Misasan Hilkach L'Rabbanon Asa Chamar L'Mamtinu Hoyav V'Lav Misa Mamishi. Therefore, like the Rabbanon, Chamar comes to be. This is going to answer your kasha. Hilkach L'Rabbanon Asa Chamar L'Mamtinu. Therefore, what? Since the word chamar is, I know Vamesi Eloi is all Balichayim. Now chamar is extra, totally, correct? I don't need chamar. Guys, remember, we're not having the limit Shavah chamar, correct? It's gone. How do you know Boris Chayiv? Because it says Vamesi Eloi. So now it's chamar extra, and shar is extra, correct? So now, what I'm going to use chamar for? To be memayit what? Like the Rabban and Kalim. This is the answer to the question. Asar chamar l'mamtinu hoyel v'lav misa mamashi. Now, why is that out of the ballpark? Because good shvirasan zui misasan, but it's not really misa. It's not a really live thing. V'shar l'mutei adam she'ena min behema. That's not a behema. V'ikas rachman achad. And if you just would have written one, have amina l'mutei adam. Aval kelim loy. The chi come mayit balechayim, the kavasi come mayit, similar to a shar and a chamar. Well, chamar. Therefore, I need chamar to say what? Not kalim. Rabbi Yehuda, oil rebuya kalim asa, and afagav the lav b'nei misa ninu. So mamish, even though it's not b'nei misa mamish, so why do you need a review for? V'shar lemutei adam balechayim, the kavasi. Well, come on, parach Rabbi Yehuda chamar lamli. Like Rabbi Yehuda, why do you need chamar? Like Rabbi Yehuda, since why do you need it? But it's learning out from Chamar. So that Rashi is kind of a summary of what's going on over here. We're learning out from Amesi Eloi. That makes Shar v'Chamar extra. Like the Chachamim, Shar v'Layadam, Chamar v'Laykalim. Like Rabbi Yehuda is Maida by Adam, Shar v'Layadam. Why do you use this Chamar for? Since the Chachamim use it for Kalim, and Rabbi Yehuda holds Kalim is Chayev, what does he do with the Chamar? Guys, are we okay? We're live. Again, no one's falling in a bar. No, literally, no. I'm saying this is again. It may not be the most interesting Gemara, but we're doing the best we can. Okay. Now, Fred the Gemara, how could you use Vamesi Eloi to teach me what? To teach me that bar is only by Balachayim, right? 1 second. Mi boile Rava. We need it for Rabbi's din. Dama Rava shar psulei hamikdashim shenaful bar pata. If you have a shor of an animal that had been a carbon, we saw yesterday a bachar that is not shaykh padiyah. Rashi says it's a carbon that you are nifta. Pata, you would be pata. Shneimar v'amesi Eloi, but misha meishalo yatzeh shein meishalo. What are you going to do with this carcass? You're going to feed it to the dogs. You can't feed this to the dogs. It's not v'amesi Eloi. It's not yours. So therefore, since I need Vamesi Eloi by bar to teach me the patur of Psulei Mikdashim, how do I have an extra to teach me to describe that everything that's a Baal Chai is Chayiv in a bar? That's what Ella Amakra, guys, we're changing gears, guys. One more time. Not Vamesi Eloi. Ella Amakra, Kesef Yoshev LeBaalav, LeRabbi's called the Islay Bailim. And it says in the pasuk, it says Balash Bar Yishalem, Kesef Yoshev LeBa'olav V'Mesi Eloi. So the Baal Bar pays, Kesef returns to its owners, and it goes ahead. What? It's coming to include, right? It's coming to include anything that has Bailam. Right. Now that the mace is out and you're getting a different description of what's included in the bar. I should have given a kalaprat over here, an example of a bar, not a cup. That would have been more appropriate. But anyway.
I kept thinking this cup.
Yeah, anyway. So guys, so once you're telling me it has a din in Bailis, do you own Kalim? Absolutely. Can you own a slave? It used to be that way, right? So l'chayra, so they should be included in the bar. So amakra shav layad mechamar v'lay Kalim. Good. So you have a riboy. You have a riboy. You know, it's a miyut. Very geshmak. Rabbi Yehuda, the kamar bilu Kalim. Rabbi Yehuda, bishlem ashar memayet be adam. El chamar may memayet be. Right? What do you learn from it? El amarava chamar de bar Rabbi Yehuda. V'seh de aveda. And by the parsha of aveda, it says l'chol aveda sechicha. It says shar v'chama v'seh salma l'divrei kol kasha. You know, so we don't have a limit. We don't know what it's for. Like Rabbi Yehuda, the chamar by bar, we don't know what he uses it for, and by aveda, the seh, we don't know what. Everyone uses what learns out from the seh. Good. Okay, so let's yetz midvarenu, guys. Let's go. Let's chazriba. Let's chazriba. We have the Mishnah says that if a shar v'chamar fall into a bar, yechayiv shar v'loyad v'chamar v'loy kalim, they're pata. Rabbi Yehuda is mechayiv, and this kalim mad in bar. Where's the limud? We had a few attempts. We had 3 attempts, right? Kal prato klal. We had a problem there. We'd be limited to nevela because shar v'chamar. We tried v'amesi aloi, right? Thinking that anything that's shaykh nisa. Our problem with that was we needed it for a different limud. We needed it for the din of p'slei mikdashim. So Mamela be concluded from Kesef Yoshev Lebola. That's the final askana. Anything that has a baal is shaykh in this kelim bar. If that's the case, Adam is shaykh to be owned and kelim is shaykh to be owned, and then we have a miyad shavla yadam chamar v'lekelim. What does Rabbi Yehuda do with chamar? He agrees that shavla yadam, but he says oy is the rabbi's kelim. So in echanami chamar we don't know. So Baruch Hashem we concluded everything, and we're all doing well. Good. Says the Gemara Vayta. Now, what did that mean? When you learned it, I told you what it meant, but it's kind of funny. Right away, when you say the shar cheresh shayt v'katan, you think that the owner is a cheresh shayt v'katan, right? That's generally what we mean. It says my shar cheresh shayt v'katan. Ilem is shar shel cheresh shar shel shayta shar shel katan. Hashar shel pikeach pater. Over there you're chayev, right? But the shar pikeach you be pater on, right? Now, is that possible? I mean, why is that? In other words, if you're a normal guy, you pata. It makes no sense. You know, if it's totally in ownership, it would say shar v'chama yechayev. Mashain came by what the diak would be the shar that belonged to a pikeach, a normal person. You'd be pata. Makes no sense. Hashar shall pikeach pata. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Sharshu cheresh shaita. No, it doesn't mean the owner. It means sharshu cheresh, sharshu shaita, sharshu kan. It's going right on the shar. I'm base. It's going on the shar. Mashma hasharshu pikeach, a shar that what is pikeach pata. Then why? In other words, if the bar is the bar, why would it make a difference? If it's going on the shar, what difference does it make? So I'm Rabbi Yirmiyah loimi boy kamar loimi bar sharshu pikeach dechayev. You know, of course, it's sure that's a pikeach chayev, but aval shor cheresh shayt v'katan ema charshasay garmalay katnusay garmalay for liftar. Maybe there should be a patur. It was their immaturity or their fact that they were a cheresh. They were deaf. Maybe that caused their demise. Kamash malon. No, that's one way to learn. Omer of achel ravina v'tanya nafal toichay bardas pater. If in bardas falls in pater, my love. Shar bardas, a shar pikeach, mashma that yechayev. I'm like adam, an adam that's pikeach. Elamiata adam ben das who the pata, halab ben das who the chayev. 1 second. Shar adam ksif. In other words, it's a general term. Adam. It's not. You're not limited to a pikeach. Any adam that falls in. El my ben das. What does it mean? Min ben das. Any min, even if it's not even if it's a cheresh or a shaita that falls into a bar, you'd also be chayiv. Of course, it's the min ben das. Amaleva Tanya Nafal is like a Shar Ben Das Potter. So you see that a Shar Ben Das is Potter. You wanted to say let me boy come out. You wanted to say not only a Shar Pikeach, but even the Shar Chereshaita, right? But we have a brisa that says the Shar that's the Pikeach is Potter. El Amar Rabbi, here's the pshat, guys. Shar, what is Shar Chereshaita of a cotton? Sharvu Cheresh, Sharvu Shaita, Sharvu cotton. Dafka, only there you would be chayiv if they fall in the bar. Aval Sharvu hu Pikeach, but if it's a normal Shar Potter, my timer. The Shar should have, they know how to watch out for themselves. They're not going to walk into a pit. They should have avoided it. In other words, if it's a healthy Shar, you're going to be potter on. The whole parsha of Shar, at least during the daytime, is stated for a Shar that couldn't have avoided it. But a Shar that could have avoided it is potter. We have a brisa that substantiates Rav's pshat, fellas. Nafal l'soiche Shar, cheresh shaita v'cotton, v'suma, a blind Shar that couldn't have avoided the pit. Umahalach balayla, or what? Or nighttime where you couldn't have seen. Chayiv, pikeach, mahalach b'yayim, pater. And that's the pshat in the Mishnah. When the Mishnah said, nafal l'soiche Shar, cheresh shaita v'cotton chayiv, it meant, but if Shar that is a pikeach would be potter. During the daytime, it would be potter. During the daytime, it would be potter. Okay, that was a packed Mishnah. That was really packed. A lot of stuff in that Mishnah. Okay, this is like a tremendous bekias. We're going to get a bekias and animals. So I sent out on the paper. I sent out on the chat. I sent out the following. So now, these are different psukim that we're going to use. The first one, obviously, is the pasuk by Bar. The Nafal Shamashar Chamar Shmais Chaf Aleph. The next one is by Har Sinai, where by B'Shas Matan Torah we're told that no animals should go up. And if they're on the mountain, they're going to die. By Kefil, it says, "Emimatzi timatzi biyadei hageneva mishor ad chamar ad seh." Chaim Shnayim Mishalem, you're going to pay kefil, and then we have another pasuk. Al kol devar pesha, al shor al chamor al sev al salma. That's by Aveda. That's also by kefil. It's also by Aveda. It says kisif v'shor oivecha oy chamor toya hashek teshiv and lenu. Should we go ahead and return it to its master? Then it says by the pasha of prika, which means if you find an animal in a certain uncompromised position under a load, you should help him. Kisira chamor sonecha. It's tachas maso, it's lying under its burden. The chodalta me'azav loy. It doesn't mean you should stop. Azav tazavima, you should help him. All these have in common. Notice, guys, the shor v'chamor. You have all these psukim have animals to do with it. The pasha of chasima of muzzling an act. This is like safim shor b'disha. When the shor is threshing, do not muzzle him. Kalayim. There's two pashas of kalayim. There's one of crossbreeding them and one walking them together. So the hemtechalei sabir kalayim, it says lashon behema, you should not go ahead and crossbreed. And then it says like sachreish b'shor v'chamor yachdav, you shouldn't go ahead and attach them to a plow together. And then it says by Shabbos it says like sasu kol malacha atu v'necha v'vitecha avcha maslo v'vitecha. Getting hungry. And it says like sasa kol malacha atu v'necha v'vitecha bincha v'bitcha. Okay, so all these we're going to be referring back to this. But we'll notice that there's the parsha of Shar. Now, are you limited in all these parshas? Are you limited to what? To Shar v'chamar, or just like over here by Bar includes all Balei Chayim, over there by also includes all Balei Chayim, correct? And that's the purpose of this Gemara, is to show that in these inyanim all Balei Chayim are included. Good. Says the Gemara. Says the Mishnah. Echad shor v'echad kol behema, whether it's a shor or any other animal, l'nefilas habar, regarding falling in a bar, ulafrashas har Sinai, and to separate from har Sinai, ul'tashlume kefil, and to be, if you steal, to pay kefil, aveda, and returning it if it's what, if it's lost, leprika, to go ahead and unload it if it's overloaded. The chasima, to muzzle it when it's going ahead and threshing. The kelayim, the Shabbos, the shvisa Shabbos that you have to keep your animal at rest on Shabbos. All of these, the chen chayiv oif. So, and included this would be a chay and an oif. They'd all be included in this. Kiyotz v'hen. They all be in all these parshas. They're the same. In Cain, lomenem ashor chamar. El shadibra kosta ba'avaya. The Torah is speaking what's rogel, what's a custom, what's usual. But in all these cases, you're not limited to shor chamar. It will be all the whole animal kingdom would be included. The whole animal kingdom. So, just the question is now logistics, mechanics to accomplish. How do we know to include each and every one, right? The nefilas habar. How do you know that anything that falls in a bar called bali chayim? So you all know the answer to that. Kesef yoshev lebalov kesiv. Kol de'isle bailam kidam maron. Like we just said, anything that has an owner would be included. La hafroshas har Sinai. How do you know to go ahead and separate from har Sinai? It says im behema im ish lo yichya. Right. The chay. First of all, so now, how do you know all animal kingdom? The chaya bechal behema havaya. And when it says behema, so including behema would be a chaya, and then it says im behema, im ish, right? The rabbis esa oifus. That would include what? Oifus. Oifus and not bechal behema. Chayis bechal behema. Oifus and not bechal behema. The im, so the behema would include the chayis, right? And the im would include oifus. That by our Sinai, no one was allowed up there. No animal, no chaya, no chickens, no pigeons, no nothing. The tashlume kefil, kidam rinon. I'll call devar pesa, klal, call davar pshia. Anything you put shea in, okay, that's a gemara in Masechta Bava Metzia. La Shabbos Aveda says l'chol Avedas achicha. So you can learn it out from the word all Avedas of your friend, everything. It's mashma everything. The prika, yolav chamor me Shabbos. Prika, you can learn out what? Chamor from Shabbos. Now you can look at the chart now. Guys, look at the chart. The prika, what does it say by prika? What does it say by kisira chamor sonacha roive tachas masoi? So you have the word what? Chamor. You have the word what? Chamor there, right? Good. Now look at by Shabbos, the last pasuk. It says like sasa kamalacha atom v'shorcha v'chamorcha, right? The chol mem techa. So now it says by Shabbos, it says kol bem techa, and it says the word chamor. So just like by Shabbos, chamor is lav dafka chamor. It means all animals. So too the chamor by prika means all what? All animals. Chamor from Shabbos. Right? Okay. Well, we're going to see. We're going to see a Taisus soon. Now, says the Gemara, Vaita. Okay. So that should learn chamor from Shabbos. L'chasima yolav shar shami Shabbos. Okay, let's see that. Chasima, guys. Like sachsim shar b'tishay. What does it say by Shabbos? Again, it says kol dem techa and it says sharcha. So just like by Shabbos, it's lav dafka shar. Who I did mat by chasima, it's lav dafka shar. The kalayim. Now, what about kalayim? It depends. Kalayim the charisha. If it's kalayim of plowing, yolav shar sham Shabbos. Like by kalayim, guys, there's two parshas, right? I split it up. Behem techaloi sabir kalayim. It says behema over there. It says that's a charisha. No, the second one, like sakrish b'shor v'chamor yachdav. So you learn shor from Shabbos. Kalayim the harva, and if it's kalayim of crossbreeding where it doesn't say sharcha, what does it say? It says behemtecha. So you learn now behemtecha become Shabbos. Okay, so Shabbos, v'gabi Shabbos mean no one. Hana by Shabbos means all the animals. The Tanya Rabbi Yomer Yishun Rabbi Yishmael b'dibus harishaynos nemar. Abdcha Muslim techa, right? I have it right there on the screen, right? It says in the first one, it says Atavintri techa Abdcha Muslim techa, and the second one, Dibris, it says Shocha v'chamarcha v'chol mem techa. Now it says, what does it say? Why does it have to say Shor v'chamarcha if it says kol mem techa, right? V'halei Shor v'chamar v'chal kol behema hayu. V'lo miyatsu. Again, the second Dibris, why are they taken out? Lo malacha. Masha v'chamar omer kan chayev oif kiyotze behen, avkol chayev oif kiyotze behen. So to all over chayev kiyotze is all over.
Shouldn't this thing about Shabbos come before? Because we made a zero Shabbat to Shabbos before. Like, why is it waiting until?
To the end? What do you mean?
Because we said, the Frika, we also.
Yeah,
said-
again, we're naming on by Shabbos because we wanted to know how do you know Prika. We want to know how do you know that. So you know from Shabbos. Yeah, okay, so now once you say that, and the Gemara often does that. And how do you know Shabbos? Okay. So now Fred the Gemara Ema behema the dibris rishon klal, shorcha v'chamarcha the dibris achronis prat, klalu prat em b'chal al mashe b'prat. So again, guys, you could klalu prat from Yisro to Vat to Veschanan. Right? Look at Taisus. Guys, you here? We're making a klalu prat from Yisro to Atu Eschanan. So usually klalu prats in the same pasuk, or at least in the same zip code, right? Over here, it's like distance away. Top Taisus. Behemtcha the dibros harishonis klal lechoshev leklalu prat hamuruchakes emizeh. It's not considered a klalu prat to klal that is distance from each other. The achronis rishonis chodem milsehi, because the aseres adibros are one thing. The Zocha v'Shama b'divrei echad. Beautiful taisus, right? They're one thing. They may be located differently, but what? They're beautiful taisus, right? They're one thing. Zocha v'Shama b'divrei echad. So the mainly, this is a unique time to learn this limud, only by this limud. Taisus. When you understand taisus, it's nice. Anyway, says the Gemara Vaita. What? I always say, that you either like to learn or you matured in your learning when you hear the word taisus and you don't automatically eye contact, or all of a sudden you get like your Rebbe is going to call on you or something, I don't know. Anyway, so Fred Gemara Kasha, let's learn a klalu prat when it says shar v'chamar in nothing else. Okay. Says the Gemara, klalu prat v'chol behem techa the dibros harachronis chas of a klal klalu prat uklali atadon el kain a prat ma prat mefurish balechayim av kol balechayim. Okay, so we have a teretz, guys. Even if you're going to say it's a klalu prat, it's a klalu prat uklal. Good. Now, but guys, you're going to have the same problem with the original kasha. What's that klalu prat uklal? We got the cup. What are we putting in the cup? A shar v'chamar. Right now, so you limit it to shar v'chamar. No, then you say kol bem techa, another klal. So it's going to be similar to shar v'chamar. We're going to say any balchai, correct? But then we're going to have the problem. 1 second, the shar is only what? Mizbeach. And the chamar is only bechar. You're going to go through the same, like in the Amid Aleph. It says, Ma part mefurish davar shenevesa mitamu b'mago masa. I've called davar shenevesa mitamu b'mago masa. Avaloifis loy. Ami yimkei nichta rachman echad prata. You only had one prat. Hi nichta. Which you can rachmana. Ikas rachmana shar. If you write shar, havamina, I would have said what? If it would only write shar havamina, I would have said what? That karv lemizbeach. Only if it's karv lemizbeach in sheinu karv mizbeach loy. Kasarachmana chamar. Di kasarachmana chamar havamina kedusha bebechayra in shein kadosh bechayra loy. Kasarachmana shar. Ela v'chol techeri boyehu. So therefore what? So in other words, I got a problem. Maybe only shar v'chamar, similar to shar v'chamar. How do you know kol balichayim? So therefore, we're leaving that and we're saying the chol behemtecha riboy. The word kol, we're learning. In other words, just like in the Mid Aleph, we left the klalu prat over here. We're also leaving, and kol behemtecha is riboy. All animals. Says the Gemara, the chol heicha the kasrachmana kol riboy. Yehu. Every time he leaves the word kol is a riboy mashme, like kol everything. 1 second. But gabe maisa, maisa sheni, guys, you be paida. If you have an overload, you take the money, go to Yerushalayim, but you can't spend it on everything. What could you spend it on? Kol says the Gemara, prat, and we darshin it b'chalu prat, the Tanya, v'nasata kesef, and you'll take the money of the maisa sheni, b'chol asher tav and ashka, with anything you want, klal, babaka ubatzoyin ubayayin ubashecha prat. I can only buy those things. V'chol asher tishalcha nafshecha, because of a klal, klalu pratu klal, iyatidon elkeina prat. Ma prat mefurish. Now listen to this, guys. Pre, it comes from something else. Guys, let's go. Does baka come from something else? Born. Soin is born. Yayin's born. Sheikh is born. All born, right? The gedule karka, they all grow from the ground. That's a chiddush, guys. An animal is considered growing from the ground because it's an animal from the ground. Okay? I've called priu pri. the gedulei karka, this would exclude mushrooms and truffles, and salt and fish. Guys, fish, they're not gedulei karka, even though they're pre, but they don't grow from the ground. And truffles and mushrooms don't grow from the ground. That's why you make a shakal on them, right? They grow from the air. So therefore, that's in other words, you couldn't spend your Ma'aser Sheni money on what, no matter how expensive truffles are, you can't spend your Ma'aser Sheni money on it, right? Right? You can't spend your Ma'aser Sheni on it. So Fred the Gemara Kasha, you're telling me kol is a riboy, and you don't dash in the kal prat. Here kol shalas nafshcha, kol sav nafshcha. You are using what? You're using the Ma'aser Sheni as a riboy. And for the Gemara, Ami bichol klala, kol riboy. And it says, from the Sata Akesef with a base, bichol shetava, that's a klal. Klal without the base, what is a riboy. Ibay saying, kol nami klalahu. Miu high klal the hacha riboyahu. Kol can be what? Can be a klal. This one happens to be what? A riboy. It says, right, in the Dibris Rishonos, it says uvim techa, and here it says kol bem techa. Since it changes from the Rishon to the Sheni, the Talmid kol means everything. Shma mina riboye. Hashtadam mikol riboyehu. Behem techa the Dibris Rishonos v'shorach hamad the Dibris Achronos lamali. Guys, once you say kol bem techa, it includes everything. So why do you have to say the Dibris Rishon shavach hamar bem techa? Ami shor lagmuri shor shor lechasima. The reason we did taka is to learn shosha to the sach mishar b'dishar. Chamar legmuri chamar leprika, like that linear that unloading. Behemtecha lagmuri behemtecha lekalayim. These are all the limudim we had. V'mihachi afilu adam litzer, right? Even adam should be asar. Alamatan adam muta im kulon lachreish u'limshoich. If you can say that it's including all balchayim guys, that adam also should be asar to go ahead and. Let's say, put a yoke in a guy and a cow and an ox. Schlepping is permitted, right? Amra Papa Papunoi Yodai Taima. People from Papunoi know the reason. Don also. Umana who's Papunoi? Rav Acha Bar Yaakov. Amakro Leman Yenuach Avdecha V'Amascha Kamoicha Lahanacha Hikshativ Lo Davacher. I went ahead. I only linyan Hanacha Hikshativ Eved V'Amal Behema, but not linyan Issa Acher. In other words. Only the Indian resting on Shabbos do we make the sushtel from animals to Adam to animals, but not the Indian what? Not the Indian Kalayim.